Climate change, economic instability, and mass disinformation are often viewed as separate problems. In reality, they share a single root. We have reached a point where the same powers that allowed us to edit the code of life have brought us to the edge of self-destruction. These crises encompass everything from ecological breakdown to technological danger and financial fragility. We have built a world that is brilliantly capable, yet increasingly brittle. This compounding of risks is known as the meta-crisis. It represents a threshold where the very design of our civilization has become its greatest liability. Our systems are built on an assumption that we are separate from the world around us. We have mistaken extraction for wealth and rivalry for progress. This is the illusion of separation. It is the belief that parts of a system can be endlessly extracted or optimized without regard for the living context that makes our existence possible. 20 years ago, Kabul served as a testing ground for this logic. The city was the focus of a massive international reconstruction effort led by the World Bank and the IMF. Foreign experts arrived with a rigid blueprint: mass privatization. They operated on the belief that textbook economics work the same way, regardless of culture or geography. If you dismantle the state and unleash the market, prosperity is supposed to follow. Local leaders at the Ministry of Finance pushed back. They pointed out that Afghanistan lacked the deep foundations that make markets function: enforceable contracts, unbribable courts, and trust between strangers. The warnings were dismissed and the privatizations proceeded. Instead of creating prosperity, state assets were rapidly captured by warlords and connected elites. The institutions saw abstract assets where there were human relationships. They imposed a mechanical map onto a living territory, and when the two didn't match, they followed the map. Kabul was a fractal of the modern world. It is a localized mirror of what our mechanical economy is doing to the biosphere. Roughly 10,000 years ago, humanity began a departure from the cooperative commons. Land that was once shared became property. Reciprocity was subordinated to accumulation, and competition became the primary driver of social organization. This competitive logic enabled coordination at an incredible scale. It built our cities, our libraries, and the technological infrastructure of the modern world. But it achieved this by externalizing the cost to ecosystems and colonized populations. That extractive mindset has now expanded. We have enclosed the atmospheric commons, the oceanic commons, and even the commons of shared human attention. These systems are fulfilling their primary design: to extract value from the whole for the benefit of the part. Our economy treats nature as an infinite warehouse, and our politics treats citizens as demographic segments to be mobilized. Biological evolution builds complexity by turning competitors into collaborators, cells forming organisms, and organisms forming ecosystems. By building a global engine of separation, we are moving in the opposite direction of that evolutionary trend. Indigenous and contemplative traditions have long maintained that reality is defined by relationship. In these worldviews, existence is a web of interdependence where no part can truly survive alone. Modern ecology and microbiology now confirm this. We breathe out what trees breathe in. Our bodies host trillions of microorganisms that allow us to digest food and fight infection. You are not an isolated individual. You are a walking ecosystem. Complexity science identifies this as emergence. When separate elements come into right relationship, new properties arise that none possesses alone.
The central bonding of atoms to the organization of neurons. The universe builds intelligence through connection. We have now acquired the capacity to alter the climate and edit the genetic code of life. Whether we intended it or not, we are now co-creators with evolution. This is the central challenge of our era. We are wielding godlike powers while operating from a consciousness of competition and separation. The intense global chaos marks a point of dissolution. The structures that organized industrial modernity are losing coherence, creating a threshold between collapse and transformation. Inside a chrysalis, a caterpillar's body breaks down into fluid. To an observer, it looks like death. But within that disintegration, imaginal cells carry the blueprint of the butterfly. The breakdown is what allows the metamorphosis to begin. Systems under stress are drawn toward stable configurations called attractors. 3 primary paths lie ahead of our civilization. The first path is fragmented collapse, a cascading failure of coordination. The second is authoritarian control, where order is maintained through coercion. The third attractor is regenerative cooperation. This requires us to coordinate at a civilizational scale without relying on force or extraction. We are already facing the meta-crisis. Our choice is which of these 3 futures we will align our choices with. We cannot reach a regenerative future through the same logic that produced extraction. Superficial reforms often attempt to fix the system while leaving the underlying mindset of separation intact. Redesigning our institutions requires a transformation in how we understand ourselves. The outer architecture of our world is a reflection of our inner architecture. The imaginal cells of our time are the communities, cooperatives, and regenerative farms currently prototyping a different way of living. They are building cooperative alternatives at the edges of the dying system. Your role is to participate in this regeneration wherever you stand, whether you work in technology, in education and governance, or your own local community. To survive, we must move beyond the illusion of separation. We are invited to become active participants in the metamorphosis of human civilization.